Hi, welcome to Dharma.tv. Today I have a few questions, and some interesting questions to talk about, and also a few things that I wanted to discuss. But to begin with, I would like to meditate for 1 minute. And if you would meditate with me briefly then, please, and I will ring the tingshas and we will begin, and 1 minute I will ring them again. So, let's begin. Okay. Now, of course, I'm only meditating for 1 minute. I think the important thing is to be meditating for at least 10 minutes a day, or 20 minutes a day, or half an hour, or 2 times for half an hour in the morning and night, or 1 hour, 45 minutes or something in a sitting. It's very important to meditate. Meditation gives you a calm, peaceful mind, and it is with this calm, peaceful mind that we can really begin to help ourselves. I've discussed tranquil abiding, and through meditation, and eventually through meditation, we find tranquil abiding. And we have to remember that all things rise, so tranquil abiding rises as well, and we can allow tranquil abiding to rise and hold on to it. So now, so there's some good questions tonight, and there's also some things I wanted to discuss. As the questions are coming in, I see that there's certain themes here to these questions, and I think that there is something unique about a Western audience and these sorts of questions that you have about Buddhism, and obstacles that you have towards being a Buddhist, or doing anything in a Buddhist way, thinking in a Buddhist way. But the first thing I would like to talk about tonight is appearances. Now, I know this is something I talk a lot about. It's something that we need to understand. Appearances are basically anything that appears to us. So we can say that anything that we see is an appearance, anything that we hear is an appearance, anything we taste, touch, smell, or think is an appearance as well. Okay, so we have the 6 senses. In Buddhism, mahamudra, we have 6 senses. Thinking is a sense. Thinking is like just touching, smelling, hearing. It's same thing. Now, when we talk about appearances, we have many appearances in a day, and what that means is that when we wake up in the morning, we open our eyes, whatever that is, we look at a clock, we put our feet on the floor, we hear something out the window, hopefully it's a bird, we hear something out the window, and that is our first appearance of the day. So perhaps our second appearance of the day is a smell of something. Our third appearance of the day perhaps is brushing our teeth, or having a cup of coffee, or on and on and on. We have many appearances in a day. We could have thousands of appearances in a day, or experience thousands of appearances in a day. And some of these appearances to us are more meaningful than others. Now, we could hear a truck drive down the street, but not pay any attention to it. On the other hand, we could see a friend drive by or something and pay a lot of attention to that and say, oh, so-and-so just drove by, they're my friend. So we can, everyone we talk to on the telephone is an appearance. Everyone that we see is an appearance. Everything that we see in a newspaper, or hear on a radio, or hear someone say to us, or in overhearing something is an appearance. If we ride the subway, let's say, then we have many appearances. We see many different people. We have many different appearances. So we can say that anything that our eyes sets on, so if we're in a car driving down the highway, we have this continuous appearance of scenery going by us. But perhaps we recognize something. We say, oh, I know that place. I've seen that every time I come here. I drive by there. I see that. And so we have, again, we have this appearance. So these things are all appearances. So everything we smell is an appearance. Everything that we hear is an appearance. Now we have inner and outer appearances. Let's say that we hear some music, and we basically, what we're doing, here's the appearance of sound. Now in Buddhism we say all sound is mantra, but let's say we're not paying attention to that at the moment. We're just paying attention to the sound, this appearance of this sound. And so we tell ourselves immediately, we have an inner appearance rises from this, and we say, I like that sound. I don't like that sound. I need to get away from that sound. This music is not for me. Or, you know, I really like this music. I'd like to turn this up. So these are all inner appearances in response to this outer appearance that is taking place. Smells are the same thing. We smell certain things. We feel that this is a good appearance. Coffee or freshly cooked food. This is a good appearance. We smell something else, food that's turned bad. We feel like this is a bad appearance. If we understand that all things, all day long, that everything, that we are constantly coming into contact with appearances, almost like a kaleidoscope in a sense. It's just one appearance after another. One washes over the next, the next, the next, the next, the next. Appearances are constant. There is a constant stream of appearances. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. It's a constant stream. We are never alone from appearances. Appearances are constant. Now, if we look at that and we say, yes, but some of these seem to be meaningful, some of these rise and I follow them. Now, some of them upset me. Some of them make me angry. Some of them make me perhaps despondent. Some of them make me fearful. Some of them make me anxious. A certain smell may make us anxious. Something that we hear may make us fearful. But if we see these things as one more appearance rising to us, then this takes us to a very interesting place. Then we have to say, well, what are we then? If these things are all appearances that rise to us, then what are we? Are we just something that receives them? Yes, we are. We are simply mind. We can consider ourselves to be a pile of thoughts. Many people think that, or feel that they are their body, that oh, my body doesn't look so good, and I'm very unhappy from that. But these are appearances now. The first appearance is this idea that your body doesn't look good. If you are living, your body will look good, and it will look better than a body that is not living. First thing. And secondly, this idea that, oh, I don't like the way my body looks. I'm not happy with the way my body looks, that I must change this. Again, this is an appearance that we are following. So we have all these appearances, and some we choose to follow, and some we choose to not follow. If we go to the grocery store and they're playing some sort of music in the background, perhaps we hear it and we think, oh, you know, that's stuff again. And then we think to ourselves, we just don't even pay attention to it. So it's an appearance that we understand is there, but we're not following it. On the other hand, if there's something in the grocery store that we want, we follow that appearance and we put that into our cart and push on. So Appearances are something that we deal with constantly. Constantly, if we are awake, if we are asleep, we have the appearance of dreams. We wake up in the morning and we say, well, I remembered my dreams. So I remembered these appearances, these things that appeared to me. So we have then this sense of one thing being replaced by another, a smell being replaced by a sound, being replaced by a thought, being replaced by something that we see. And so we can say then that all things then, all appearances, are simply one more thing that seems to occur during the day. So then we have these things that appear. So everything that happens then is one more thing. Now, if we saw everything as one more thing, we would find great relief from the suffering that following these appearances brings us. Let's say someone, a friend, says something that makes us feel like they're not happy, or we are concerned for them, and we want them to be happy, we want them to find their way, and they say something, and we think to ourselves, they're not getting it, they're not happy, they're not they're following an appearance here that they don't have to follow. And yet, if we begin to think that, then we're following an appearance too. Now, let's say we think to ourselves, and we've all done this, oh, you know, I really want them to change. They're my friend, and I can't take it anymore that they don't change, and I really want them to, and I know that this would be the best thing for them, and but I can't take it anymore. It's so frustrating. They're tying me down. You know, my friendship with them is not going anywhere. These things are all just more appearances, and we see that as we begin to do this, we see these appearances in a friend, and we begin to suffer. Now we're suffering. However, if we looked at that friend and we saw this as something to have compassion about, to just be compassionate towards this person and to help them any way we can, and if that means just listening to them, then we should listen to them. And if we can hopefully provide some sort of gentle guidance to them, they may listen. If we would to talk about ourselves and perhaps something positive happening, maybe that might lift their spirits, and they might then think in some positive way of changing themselves. If we have compassion for people, we will just not have this sense of bother, this suffering that it leads to within us. So if we then say that everything is one more thing, then we can say, well, my friend is not feeling so well today. You know, they weren't feeling so well yesterday too, but I hope that they feel better tomorrow. But it's simply one more thing, and now I'm on my way somewhere else, and I see something happening here, something there, I hear something. In other words, we just move on. Now, we do this in a normal way anyways, but some things we get caught on and some things we follow. And when we follow these things, we begin to suffer. We begin to, all the habitual behavior comes up. I can't stand it when they do that. This drives me crazy. I really like that person. I really want them, but you know, I really want them to like me, that sort of thing. We begin this series of events that we can say is a direct response to these appearances. And it creates inner appearances, and these inner appearances can cause us a great deal of trouble. So, if we then we want to think one more thing, everything is just one more thing, and I can let it alone. I can move on, and I can move on to the next thing, which is surely there, to the next appearance, which is surely there. So, our sense then is that we want to watch these things because sometimes we feel like something has validity, And yet, as Buddhists, we know that nothing has a basis in fact. And then the more research we do, the more we follow the Dharma, the more we meditate, and the more we listen to the Dharma, the more impressed we are with the sense that nothing seems to have a basis in fact, that everything seems to be an appearance, that everything seems to be something that we simply follow, that occurs to us that we follow. If you look at the color of the walls, wherever you are, that's an appearance. If you think that it needs to be a different color, then you're following that. So, but we want to say, does it matter which color it is? Well, perhaps it would change people's moods, that sort of thing. Some colors seem to be, people respond better than others, and if you want to make a pleasant environment, yeah, well then maybe you should change the color. But generally speaking, the color change isn't going to change the room. So there is no, we need to keep in mind that there is no basis in fact for our various thoughts. Now you'll see where this is going. Because I have some questions here. Now, here's a question that a viewer has written in, and I really encourage you to, email me questions. The questions that you email me are really great, and don't worry about making them too long. I can abbreviate them as we speak. So I'll just read a little bit of it, and then I'll get to the heart of it. This is a listener who's enjoying the show, and thank you for doing it. Well, thank you for writing. I've been attracted to Buddhism for years on and off because I find it very rational and the teachings are very practical and adding to the quality of one's life. My stumbling block or question is, can you be a Buddhist without believing literally in karma? Or put another way, can you be a scientific skeptic and subscribe 100% to the Dharma? There's a little bit more here. Karma is kind of slippery for me. Not that it's been disproved by science, but that it's really not compatible with a scientific skeptical view of the world. Now, okay, well, I would like to address that. First, we can say that there really in the West, there is a very big preoccupation with karma. And it's a bit unclear to me exactly why. I can say that as a Buddhist, I think if something is not understandable by you and your practice, then you should just leave it and come back to it. There's just no two ways about that. It is so much more important that you practice the Dharma than to get caught on ideas or understandings of certain aspects. This is where teachers come in. If you need a teacher, a person that's writing this question does not have a teacher because you need to know this, that if there's something that we don't understand at a certain moment, there can be many things in Buddhism that we don't understand. Even my talking about appearances might be, someone might say, well, I get a part of it, but I don't understand it completely. We can't underestimate what happens over a period of time. So over a period of time, we can understand a great many things in ways that perhaps our first approach did not allow us to understand it that way. But if I look at it from a different point of view, our point of view that I have now, which is 1 year later or 6 months later, after I began to practice the Dharma, then perhaps that point of view will make sense to you and you will begin to see things that you never saw before. You'll begin to have understandings that you never saw before. It is so much more important that we practice the Dharma for ourselves and for others. It is so much more important that we just begin to meditate and we get through the best we can. It's so much more important than getting caught up on any one thing. No matter what it is, no matter how big it seems to you. In the West, for some reason, we become preoccupied with these ideas. Well, I have to have it 100%. I have to know this, I have to know that, and then I can get into it. Well, you're never going to know all those things if you don't begin. So we can't climb the mountain without beginning one step. And that step is meditation and practicing the Dharma. If we practice the Dharma, we will stop being critical towards other people, and we will be compassionate towards other people. We will forgive other people, whatever it is that we need to forgive them. Many people walk around very intolerant of everything, intolerant of all other people. Or we have whole groups, age groups in society that say, well, you know, oh, those people, oh, those old people, oh, those young people, they think like this, meaning that somehow there's something wrong with it. This is totally not correct to be thinking in these terms. So we need to start practicing, we need to start having compassion for others and love for others, unconditional love for others. This is so much more important than any kind of understanding, intellectual understanding that we could ever have. Now, to go to this question, okay, we live in a conceptual society, in a conceptual world. We learn by concept. As I'm speaking right now, I am speaking about concepts that you hopefully understand to some degree. But concepts rule our life, and words are concepts, and we need to understand then that when we believe in something, we are believing in a concept only. And we say, well, I believe that the floor will hold me when I walk on it. And lo and behold, the floor doesn't hold you and you fall through. So your belief then had no validity. Now, when we say, this question here, can I be a Buddhist without believing literally in karma? Absolutely. You can begin your Dharma practice. One day, you will have an understanding of karma that you can live with. Now, so this is very important that we understand that this is a process. And I think one of the things in the West, one of the issues that we have with Buddhism is we feel like we need to take it all as a whole, and that it should make sense to us immediately, and that we need to swallow the whole thing at once. And that's just not the way it is. Buddhism represents, the Dharma represents a completely different perspective on who we are. We can't take something like that as a whole. No one can. Everyone has to learn it, and you have to learn it through hearing the Dharma and practicing the Dharma, being compassionate, having love for others. So if we learn a little bit, and we sit and we meditate with the intent to become enlightened, we meditate with the intent to find happiness, we meditate with the intent to find harmony and peace in the world, and to become someone who loves others unconditionally and who can have compassion for everyone. This is our goal, and we're not there right now. And so this takes some time to do, and it takes some work and some effort to do. If you wish to become enlightened in this lifetime, you're going to have to work hard, because we have many bad habits. Many habits, habitual behavior, things that cause us suffering. So, can we be a Buddhist without believing in karma? Yes, you can begin, yeah. And eventually karma will make sense to you. And so I'm not even going to go into talking actually about karma. I did that in the last show. And we can talk all day about karma, but begin is what I would say to you. Begin. Throughout all of this, the idea of appearances, the idea of the fact that when we begin to study the Dharma and practice the Dharma gives us a reason to love other people. In our society, we don't have that. The Dharma gives us a reason to have compassion for other people. Again, in our society, we don't have that. These things are not, they're in parts of our society, but they're not the overall emphasis of our society. The overall emphasis of our society is critical. It's critical, and it's judgmental. That is the overall emphasis of our society. So if we're talking about beginning to practice something that is not judgmental and is not critical, then we're going to walk with baby steps in the beginning. And the thing to do is that we just need to begin to abandon your ideas of what is what and just begin the practice with faith that I will find out in my practice whether I wish to continue to do this or not in time. I don't need to know in the very beginning. There's a lot of criticism and a lot of ideas in our society, a lot of concepts in our society. And what they really do is they keep us separate from each other. And there's an expression, you know, let the separateness go, let the separateness die, let the separateness fade away. And what they mean there is let the separateness between each of us dissipate, disappear. And the way to do that is always to have compassion. Compassion that has no subject. So in other words, a compassion where we have no particular person or thing that we're feeling compassionate about. That we train ourselves to just being compassionate generally towards everyone, towards ourselves and towards everyone else. And the more that we can be like this, the more that we can practice the Dharma in this way, the happier we become, the more harmonious we become, the more we see our interconnectedness with others, and the more we see how we really aren't unique. We are just another life, and that all life is the same. So these, again, are things to think about. I appreciate the fact that you're watching Dharma.tv. I think it's an important thing. I hope you do too. And again, think about being separate. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.